Hi there, I'm Fionuala and today I'm back in my own garden because I wanted to talk about frost protection and citrus trees. So just say, like me, you've planted a citrus tree in the last couple of months. It's a baby citrus tree. It's young, it's vulnerable, and you've just heard that it's going to be frosty tonight, which is exactly what happened to me. What are you going to do? First, let me talk a little bit about what frost actually does to your citrus trees. When you've got a frosty night, the temperatures are dipping below freezing. When the water in the cells freeze, it expands the cell walls and they burst, causing your leaf of your citrus tree to kind of wilt and go brown and just get so stressed that your poor tree is not able to photosynthesize and do the work it needs to do to ensure that you're going to get good fruit next year. Now, when your tree's been more established and the roots are down and it is tougher and used to being where it is, it can withstand a frost a little bit better. But when you've got a baby citrus tree, you need to get out there. You need to protect it. And I'm going to show you how. So let's go for a little wander. This is my Glavenstein apple. It's a deciduous tree, and as you can see, it's got this great fall color going on right now. This guy does not need protection in the winter. The leaves are going to drop anyway, so you don't need to throw frost cloth over this one. Here's another apple tree right here. Same thing. Your deciduous trees don't need frost cloth. This is my celestial fig tree. I really love this. Nice small little figs. Fig trees don't need protection around here in zone 9B either. As you can see, all its leaves have fallen off already. We don't need to worry about it. This is my Seckel pear, one of my favorite pears ever, in case I've never mentioned it before. It's way ahead on being deciduous, has dropped all its leaves already, and I've even started pruning it. Again, no protection needed for your pear trees. In my garden, I have a lot of different fruit trees. I have a very, very productive garden with trees scattered here and there so that I get to go out and forage for food. The deciduous trees, they don't need protection. Those leaves are falling down, so it doesn't matter if the leaves are full of water because they basically don't have any leaves on them. Your citrus trees, though, are a whole different thing. They're evergreen. They want to keep their leaves on all year. They want to photosynthesize all year long. So if the temperatures dip below freezing, which is 32 degrees, they can be stressed. Now, don't forget, I'm here in zone 9B, and super low temperatures are really not that common, but you need to keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on what the temperatures are going to do, and if you see that it's going to go below 32, 30 degrees, definitely if it goes below 28, you're going to want to get out there and protect your fruit trees, especially if they're young, especially if they're babies, especially if, like me, you've just planted it within the last couple of months. Those little roots have not gotten established. They haven't put themselves down in there deep in the soil. Your tree is not yet used to the environment that it's growing in, and it's already a little bit stressed. So you want to do everything you can to make sure that you're giving it the best chance possible. Let me show you how. So this cute little tree over here is a citrus that I've been hunting for quite some time. It is a vanilla scented orange with an Italian name that I'm totally going to butcher. Vaniglia sanguino. It's a blood orange with a vanilla scent. I love this tree since before I even found it. But I found it, I planted it. It's been in a couple of months and it is young and it's vulnerable. Another thing I wanted to say about, just say your fruit tree has gotten through a night of frost. Those little cell walls have busted. It's a bit wilty. It's a bit brown. It's lost its sun leaves, but it's a frosted up, stressed out tree. In the long run, that tree, because of the stress it's been under from lack of protection, opens it up to future disease problems, future bug problems. You know, a stressed tree is far more likely to get attacked by a fungal problem or by bugs in general. So you just want to do what you can for your baby trees. Like I said before, the bigger trees, they can withstand a lot more because They've got deep roots. They've been there for a while. They can get through stuff. But your baby trees, whole other story. So let me show you what I'm going to do. We start by checking the weather. Tonight it's going to get cold, so what I'm going to do is first water the soil around the base of the tree. First of all, you're going to water your tree really well. You're going to water the soil around the base of it. And you do this in the heat of the day when it's nice and warm. Like right now, I think it's 58, 60 degrees. So the soil temperature is also at 58 or 60 degrees, maybe a little cooler. But by watering it, what you're doing here is creating a little bit of an environment that, first of all, protects your tree by making sure it's hydrated, lessen the stress that way. But moist soil releases the heat very gradually overnight. And when you've covered the tree, you're creating a microenvironment in here where the moist, warm soil is releasing heat throughout the night and creating a warm environment around your little tree. This will all make a lot more sense once you see the tree once it's covered. Okay, we've got my tree's soil around the base of it, nicely hydrated. I'm using this moment to pull a few weeds and baby oak trees out. And it is ready to have its frost cloth put over it. Next, I've got my supplies. What you want are some bamboo stakes that are taller than the tree. In this case, I got 6-footers because this tree is not very tall. It's a baby. And I place them opposite each other. I just got 4 because I only had 4 tennis balls. You can do more if you want to, but I also knew that 4 is all this tree needs. Then you get tennis balls with a hole cut in them, and you pop those tennis balls over the top. They're nice and tight. There they are. I'm going to get them down to somewhat equal height. Then, now frost cloth is specially formulated. It's got this little waffle blend going on here. Specially formulated to grab the heat, hold the heat, and insulate anything that it's covering. Sometimes it helps to have a second person, but let's see what I can do. So what you're doing is creating this beautiful little environment under here that's trapping the heat radiating from the soil and from the tree itself and holding it in here and insulating it overnight. You want to like grab it and make sure that it doesn't blow off in the night. That's where clothespins come in really handy. You just pin them to the bamboo stakes. And like I said before, you might want to use more stakes or fewer stakes, but the main objective is to keep it up and off the foliage and to create that nice little greenhouse. The reason you don't want the fabric touching the foliage is that if it does get incredibly frosty overnight, or there's extra moisture or fog or rain or something, you don't want the weight of the fabric touching the foliage because that can actually transmit the cold and the frost, and you want to avoid that wherever you can. Because it's in a container, I'm tucking it in, just making sure it's nice and cozy. And that my little citrus tree is safe overnight. So yeah, it's not that difficult. You just got to keep an eye on the temperatures and save your little citrus trees. Your baby trees need this more than your big trees. But if you've got something really precious out there and you know that your subtropical lemon tree is going to be subjected to super low temperatures for a bunch of nights in a row, you might want to go get a big piece of frost cloth and cover it up. I have a Meyer lemon that's about 20 years old. It's come through all kinds of temperatures, all kinds of winters. It is wonderful, but I depend on that tree, so if it's going to be really low going forward for a whole bunch of nights, I'll probably cover that guy up too. So there you go. It's not that hard. I hope this was helpful. I hope you now know how to go out there and save your baby citrus trees. And if you have any questions at all, drop me a line in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Remember, Zone 9B, we don't get that cold, but we do sometimes, so just be ready for it. Happy gardening!